definitely want to pull out the loop just to kind of verify what you're seeing with your naked eye. And this is what kind of reconfirms it.
Check.
Four-corner check, exactly.
Corners look good.
Corners look good. This card would be, I'd grade this card a 9. Current approximate value, $6,000, $8,000.
And the difference between these two is just 1 grade.
It's just 1 grade, and just, again, just a light little corner touch on 2 of the corners, which keeps it in an 8.
Back in Ohio, rather than risk mailing their Tiger Woods card to PSA in California, the Sulzers decide to make the 175-mile drive from Chillicothe to Cleveland to attend the 22nd National Card Show.
Man, oh man. You imagine all the stuff they've got in here?
Here, PSA offers on-site grading, which will allow the Sulzers to find out in a matter of hours whether their card is worth $100,000, $100, or somewhere in between.
Hi.
How are you?
Fine. I'd like to get a card graded.
The grading process begins with the submission of the card.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Once the Sulzers card is submitted, it is stripped of their information and given an identification number. That way, once it finally reaches the grading room, the graders can only be influenced by the condition of the card, not by who owns it. A minimum of 2 graders will inspect the card. The 2 graders must agree on the grade. If their opinions differ, the card will be graded by a 3rd expert, who will either break the tie or result in the 3 grades being averaged. Once the Sulzers card is graded, a label is prepared with the ID number and grade. Then the card is sonically sealed in a plastic case to guarantee its grade and authenticity.
How you doing, sir? Pretty good.
Finally,
Yes.
the moment the Sulzers have been waiting for has arrived.
All righty. So this is
The grade,
check that out.
a 9.
All right. Thanks a lot, sir. Appreciate it. Pretty cool beans, huh?
One of the reasons why I didn't get 10, because this print spot right there, that happens in the print manufacturing process, and it's not uncommon to the card, but the ones that don't have it get the benefit of the doubt in the 10, provided everything else is tight. And then it has just the lightest little perf right there, as you can see, just kind of like peeled off the back part. And it didn't go up into the corner that much, but it went just enough where with the combination of that print defect and that little bit of a corner, it's a perfect card for a 9, and a very high-end 9 at that.
Those tiny, tiny little things.
Those tiny little things, it's the difference between hitting it big time and hitting it pretty good. The value of this probably currently is between $3,000 and $5,000 on eBay.
When you opened up the box and saw that it was a 9.
I was really excited because there's not that many 9s around. It would have been good to be a 10, but I'm still happy with the 9.
And joining us to examine the phenomenon of the Tiger card, Joe Orlando. He is the editor-in-chief of Sports Market Report, which is owned by the same parent company, which also owns the PSA grading service. He joins us from Anaheim. Good morning, Joe. I guess as a civilian, I can intellectually understand Honus Wagner, 95-year-old card going for $1 million plus, or a Joe D going for $300,000, or Mickey Mantle. But a 5-year-old card of which $1 million were produced. Explain this to me.
Well, you know what? There are a lot of factors at work here. I think number one, you have the superstar power of Tiger Woods himself. Number two, even though many of them were produced, many of them were handled because they were in a magazine format, and many of them were discarded. So really what's more important is how many survived, not how many were produced. And the bottom line with any collectible is it's worth as much as someone's willing to pay for it. People have a connection with Tiger Woods right now. He's a current player. A young person today watching ESPN, they never saw Babe Ruth play, but they can watch Tiger Woods grow as an athlete.
But does that number, 125,000, you're an expert in the field. I mean, I'm not asking if it's logical, but I'm asking if it surprises even you.
It did. When I first heard about the sale, it did surprise me. But I tell you what, 10 years ago, Wayne Gretzky and Bruce McNall paid $451,000 for the Honus Wagner card that you mentioned. And then people thought they were crazy. A few years later, someone else bought it for $640,000, and then last summer it went for $1.265 million. So It's hard to apply logic to a lot of these purchases.
Doing better than tech stocks, obviously. You heard the California family, the private sale. They said they had 2 10s that went for a total of mid-6 figures. I know there's a lot of slippage in this field and a lot of private sales. It's tough to nail down numbers, but if that's accurate, we're talking 200, maybe to 250,000 now. Has the market been recalibrated?
Well, you know, with Tiger Woods, it's interesting. I think the standard for Tiger Woods, it's so high. People expect this guy to win every time he goes out onto the golf course. So obviously when you're dealing with a modern athlete, whether it's Tiger Woods or Mark McGwire, the sports collectibles are very volatile. You know, right now it's hard to say exactly what it would be worth, but absolutely, every time a huge sale comes down, it really does calibrate the market again.
Another thing that almost defies logic, but the grading process, a 9, something microscopic, will turn a $100,000 card into a $5,000 card. What about the subjectivity of the grading?
Well, you know what? Grading affects just about every other collectible field there is, whether it's coins, whether it's diamonds. I mean, I remember when I was buying my engagement ring, and a jeweler came out and he laid out 5 diamonds in front of my face, and it was very difficult for me to tell the difference between the 5 diamonds, but just the slightest change in color or clarity between the diamonds could make it a $5,000 diamond, a $75,000 diamond. So really it's the principle that guides all other collectible fields. Now it's being applied to sports cards. Okay, Joe, we'll continue with Joe Orlando. We'll have more with him in just a second as we continue, plus some pointed reactions to last week's look at the heat-related deaths of young athletes as we continue Outside the Lines.
A way to get kids to read the magazine. It just doesn't seem appropriate for what it is. It's all sort of kind of bizarre.
There were approximately 1 million copies of the now famous Tiger card printed. Sports Illustrated for Kids magazine is adamant it never intended, nor did it envision this feverish market in the card. It calls the card editorial content. Lisa Salters spoke with the magazine's managing editor.
You know, it was the furthest thing from our minds that these things could possibly be collectibles. It was all about, you know, a way to get kids to read the magazine. It just doesn't seem appropriate for what it is. It's all sort of kind of bizarre. They're perforated cards. You know, how could they don't look like the real cards because they're the way they're in the magazine. They're on much thinner stock than that. It's a very different thing.
Is it true that Sports Illustrated has asked some of the grading services not to grade this card?
Yes, that is true. We sent out letters to the major grading services last year, and we wanted to discourage some of this activity.
Why?
We wanted to be on record as being, you know, that we don't consider these cards to be collectibles, and that was the reason for that.
We recently asked the magazine how much of its position reflects the fact that were the card intended as a collectible, Tiger Woods would likely be owed a licensing fee. Neil Cohen was unavailable for comment. And back to Joe Orlando. Joe, what's your take on this entire issue? Well,
there are a couple of factors here. Number one, there may or may not, like you mentioned, be a legal issue between Tiger and Sports Illustrated. Number two, you know, he made the comment that Sports Illustrated never intended it to be a collectible. Well, really, it doesn't really matter what Sports Illustrated intended or not intended. It matters what the collectors think. And if the collectors deem this an appropriate collectible, then it is a collectible. The card is perforated. PSA has always graded perforated cards. There are perforated cards made back in the 50s, baseball cards. So I would ask that if the card, why would the card be perforated if it wasn't intended to be a trading card? Because if it was an uncut sheet, PSA would not grade the card.
Joe, in 10 seconds, I'm sure a lot of addicts are suddenly going to get clean today after they see this this program. How many cards might still be out there?
There could be thousands. You know, it's an untapped market. Search your closets.
Okay, I'm sure folks will be doing that. Joe Orlando, thanks very much for joining us this morning. Last Sunday, in the wake of the deaths of Corey Stringer of the Vikings and Rashidi Wheeler of Northwestern,